Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime.
What's happening, everyone? This is Raj coming to you live from a La Quinta Inn, and my company is a Fortune Top 10, and apparently they're racist or they don't like me. Just kidding, not saying their name. Yeah, man, I'm at a hotel today and just wanted to check in. This is a very, very interesting week in sports. It's a very self-centered, narcissistic, individual-focused week, whether it be Los Angeles, getting Shohei Ohtani, to Patrick Mahomes, to Jon Rahm, to Millhouse, Mike McDaniels, and the Miami Dolphins versus Mike Vrabel. And we're going to touch on all of this stuff. We're going to try to do it quickly today. Let me go ahead and introduce the dudes today. Michelle is not with us, sadly. But let's first go to he deserves to be first, the producer extraordinaire, Mr. Tom Sloan out of Detroit.
Mr. Mehta, how are you in the La Quinta?
I'm effing embarrassed to admit that. If I was downtown, I could have been at the Tennessee in a luxury 5-star, but no. It's actually better than the Red Roof Inn, so suck it.
Well, I mean, a dumpster is probably better than a Red Roof Inn, but I digress.
Hey, this is actually not bad. I showed you guys the business suite. I'm on the suite side, although not much separates. How are you today in Mr. Mutant Jeans? We'll get into that, but CJ Gardner-Johnson
yes,
coming back must make you pleased.
Yeah, I mean, it's hope. And at this point, that's all we can ask for as Lions fans. And I do think we rebound this weekend. Saturday night at Ford Field should be raucous. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, you know what's funny to me, and we'll get into this, is I always respect great teams. To me, good teams win on the road. And Detroit is 5-2 on the road. They actually have the same record, or they're 4-2, I believe, at home, where they're not as dominant. And maybe that's Ford Field, maybe that's pressure, maybe that's a fast playing surface. I don't know, but people talk about them not being there yet, but they're winning on the road. So that's kind of crazy. Yep. Speaking of crazy, let's get to a male Taylor Swift fan, a man leaving for San Antonio in the morning. Also going to see LeBron and Wemby Part 2. He is, his name and look speaks for himself. He is Mr. Robert Davis, apparently is a telemarketing Top Gun maverick as well. What's up, Rob?
Hey, I just want to thank you for having me. I was a little skeptical about after what happened on Monday night with Derrick Henry scoring 2 touchdowns to beat you in fantasy at the very end if you were going to have me on this week. But, I'm glad we could put bygones be bygones, and we'll see each other in the playoffs. Wait. Before we introduce our fourth member, we will not see him in the playoffs. So
yeah,
it's got to get that out of the way.
As a 10-3 person, I had Pacheco, Hurt, and some other guys, but I'll tip my hat to Rob. Unfortunately for me, I did not put Drake London in against Tampa, and of course he has the game of his life. And what if is the story of fantasy football? Robert won 127 to 122.32 with Gardner Minshew as his quarterback.
Wow.
So my 10-4 team hopefully gets a bye. Last but not least, a guy who's had tough losses, but think his team sucks right now because of injuries, maybe. It's our golf extraordinaire and bitter Titans fan and Ohio State Buckeye on the losing end for 3 straight years, Mr.
And
Brandon
loser
Shane.
bracket extraordinaire.
No, I will make the playoffs after I win this week. It's all going to play out perfectly. But yes, I've been bitten by the injury bug. I was first overall pick. Of course, I took Jefferson, who I've had for all of 2 or 3 weeks this entire season. It's been terrible. And now Jacobs is hurt.
Said he's going to play this week.
Oh, well, he's going to play, half-assed probably. I'll get 7 points out of him. And then, Jacobs is hurt again. And, now I've got to play Jerick McKinnon because Pacheco is probably going to be out. So it is the life of fantasy, and I will power through. I will somehow make the playoffs. And Robbie looks like 1990s, like Wings. If you ever watch that TV show, whatever.
Wow.
What's going on here?
Wow.
That was a sweet show, dude. With
It was a sweet show.
Thomas Hayden
I
Church, who ended up starring in Sideways.
Wings
and
was
a big
great,
career
dude.
after. I like that fucking show.
But anyway, little name drop. What's up, boys? Let's get through this stuff. We got a lot of crazy.
It's gonna be a good show tonight. Good show.
Let's go, dude. Let's go. I want to. With me hosting, we're trying to cut down the yapping. So far it's a fail. Let's go right away. By the way, with a lot of free money to spend still, Tyler Glasnow and Manuel Margot look like they're on the way to the Dodgers, sending Ryan Pepio, another young stud, one of the wealth of LA arms. But that doesn't matter. The Dodgers can't afford him, is my point. And Tom, why is that after spending the largest sports contract in North American sports history? I think soccer has a few more, but.
Well, I think they can do that because the way the contract was deferred.
And could you explain that? Like how he is a unicorn, not just on the field, but off?
So he presented an offer to the Dodgers, and I don't know if this was offered to any other teams, but you hear 10 years, $700 million. And you think, holy cow, this is, unbelievable, which it is. But he decides to take $2 million per for the first 10 years and then basically spread out the rest of the deal from year 10 on, even though he may not be a Dodger after that. It's a Bobby Bonilla situation where every year will be a Shohei Ohtani day. So, and he did that basically, so it gives the I almost said the Lakers. It gives the Dodgers some, I guess, flexibility within the luxury tax to go out and get more players. And I think you look at it and, that's a really cool move by Ohtani to do that. He didn't have to do that. But then when you stop and really think that he's in LA, even though he played in California, but he's a Dodger now, the marketability is endless. Estimation somewhere of 50 million in endorsements per year. So that 2 million, he's not going to miss. So they have the ability to go out and get a Glasnow and Margot, who's he could be a bench guy. He's fast. He's got a good bat. He's really good in the outfield. He's a good utility player. That's a good ball player that no one really has ever heard of because he played in Tampa. So a very unselfish type of move by Ohtani. So the Dodgers, who, they're no slouch. You've got Mookie Betts, who's a top 2 or 3 player in MLB. You got Freddie Freeman. It's a powerhouse, and it has been for the last 10 years. And this should put them pretty much over to the top, at least between them and Atlanta. They'll definitely be battling it out for the National League.
Yeah, it's LA already had Betts and Freeman, who were second and third in the MVP, to the highly deserving Ronald Acuna. They're also the only 2 Dodgers signed after 2025. LA was maneuvering to make this move. We've heard about it since 2017, 18, since he got in the league. We were shocked he didn't come to LA. Last year, LA's payroll was $158 million, the lowest it's been in a long time for the Dodgers. They overachieved with the Dodger way, getting a lot out of veterans like Hayward and JD Martinez, just a lot of career resurgences, and kind of played above where they should have. So people are like, whoa, they're already, a team that's won 100 games, 4 out of the last 5 years. The 5th year was COVID when they won the World Series. Glass now is Tampa Bay's ace. He has durability issues. It is contingent upon signing an extension, but LA can do that now, and they can do more. Rob, let's switch gears here. A lot of the owners complain the small market, as they always have, that this is unprecedented. It's unfair to big market teams. There's no salary cap in baseball, is there?
No, there's a luxury tax, and like when you talk about like this was one of the most brilliant contracts. If it can stand all the way around, from a team, from a player, from an agent, from everything, like not only at the team, look, they can take that $600 million, invest it, and 5%. They know that they owe that. Ohtani can work the tax deference. He can move to Texas, Tennessee, Florida, other states don't have income taxes, and get that, save $300 million. And yeah, like he's an international superstar. He doesn't need baseball money. Mm-hmm. It's so smart, and I'm surprised it hasn't been used more often now that you see it in play. But yeah, like if I'm say Kansas City or Tampa, building from the farm system, when I see big markets like this, like LA can, like, just marketing can do more than Kansas City or Tampa can do. So this is another gigantic shift in baseball, because when we were growing up, it was the haves and have-nots. It seemed to switch a little bit more to Kansas City, Houston, Tampa, Baltimore, so Atlanta even. Atlanta's a huge market, but it seemed to switch more back to be more competitive. This is the pendulum swinging the other way, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be back to these big markets, go advertising dollars, defer contracts. And so, but the players and owners unions are the two most powerful in all professional sports. So I'm not sure if anything changes, but it's going to be interesting to watch.
Brandon, you own a construction business, so you've seen the ebbs and flows of many different factors. Does it shock you a guy would defer this much, whether it be the economy, the pandemic, anything like that could affect? Agents want clients to get their money now. Sure. Does that shock you? And why do you think Ohtani did this?
It shocks me because it's somewhat been done, but not in this magnitude. Mm-hmm. But it's also not shocking because it's genius, right? On both parties. Okay. So you look at Ohtani's point of view, right? This guy is taking the minimum amount that he can in one of the highest state tax states that we have, right? While he's there. Mm-hmm. And he can play out his 10 years. This is the future, in my opinion, of a 401k for the MLB, right? Like, if you are stuck in a state where you are taxed out the ass, this is your way out. So it's genius on both parties. They defer the luxury tax. It opens up their book. They can still get all the star players. They can win they can have a really, really good shot, at least on paper, to have the best team in the league. And, that's hard to compete with. And I think people need to take note of that. And this is going to start happening, right? This is what happens when you don't have a salary cap, only luxury tax in certain states. Now you get creative, right? Now you can defer, you can do all the – Bobby Bonilla today has been going on since what, 1997 or something like that?
He signed in 92 for $29 million. He gets $1 million from 2011 to 2035 on July 1st of every year. Bobby Bonilla Day.
Bobby Bonilla
Day. So exactly. So this was a page out of that book, but multiplied by 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to see more of this going on. I think this was the first of its kind of this magnitude, like I said, but genius on both parts. Ohtani's going to be in Florida or another state, because after 10 years, you're not going to be taxed in that where you earn the income. It's wherever you live at that point. So then it's going to be spread out $68 million for another 10 years after that. So it's not like he's getting 680 immediately. It also softens the blow for the Dodgers. So that helps them out.
Mm-hmm.
And what in 10 years, 68 million is going to be worth what, like probably 45, 50 today.
Well,
so,
you know that money's already sitting in a savings or something. So by the time it comes, the Dodgers are going to end up making money in it.
But what I'm saying, it works on both parties, because one, Ohtani's not losing that money to taxes initially. So he's covering his inflation on that point. So when you move to another state, you don't have to pay state income tax. Dodgers are also covering their inflation, because by the time it gets to 10 years, it's going to be, 50 mil or 45 mil. So it works out both ways.
With an increased luxury tax, if the current situation every year increases, for the record, and accounting for inflation, among other things.
And this is also unique to baseball with these regional television contracts. So like you look at football or college football, they have national contracts. So like that contract's due up in 2032 or whatever. They know when there's getting more influx of money. These different regional contracts, we're up in 2028. We know we're getting more money there.
Look at the Padres, for example.
Yeah.
One of the big reasons why they had to dump Soto was because their deal with Bally Sports, which there's 14 teams that are affiliated with Bally Sports.
Yeah.
And the Padres actually had to take a $50 million loan because of the money that they lost through the
their owner died, and it's like, so now it's like they're screwed.
Yeah, but you look at the ownership in LA and their majority owners, or even minority owners. There are some brilliant minds there. Like this was very well thought out, very well played. They're killing it right now.
And they have the TV contract that brings in hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. But Raj, hit on the one aspect of this deal that he can actually opt out with. Do you know that point?
Yeah, it's very interesting, but he can opt out if any of the club execs leave or, basically are, I think it may say there, it kind of.
If the owner or the general manager aren't with the team, he can opt out of the deal.
Which is interesting. I mean, he can, it just begs all sorts of questions. Other people trying to get Friedman, God knows. But I can't see him opting out. But like you said, I mean, he could. He has that flexibility. And this is a guy that makes, roughly 40 to 50 million in sponsors. He had 17 sponsors as of last year, the most by far of any baseball player. You name it, New Balance, we know, Fanatics, Topps, Mitsubishi, Japan Airlines, Seiko, on and on and on. And that
Well-
was with the California Angels.
Yeah, Rod. I want you to touch on this. You're from Southern California. I live there. Where does the Angels rank on Southern California sports teams? Like maybe 12?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's another thing. Just because you have Ohtani, they had Mike Trout, arguably two of the greatest players in the game, both in their prime, and they didn't do shit because of terrible ownership, terrible stadium. I mean, I'm not going to go down the list, but the Clippers are ahead of them. Others, LAFC probably does more in attendance, and maybe the LA Galaxy are in that area, but way past USC, UCLA, multiple sports. Even the Raiders are higher, and they're in Vegas.
Yeah.
So the Chargers are higher, and they don't even have that many fans. So I mean they're an empty franchise.
I lived in Southern California for 5 years. I once tried to count. I think I saw 5 Clipper hats, and I think I saw 1 Angel hat.
They got cooler graphics and stuff the Clippers do, but Angels are now like Orange County's bandwagon team. But when they play the Dodgers, it's still 90% blue. But anyways, the last thing I'll say is I do think this is a unicorn situation with a player who, this is second major elbow surgery. He was out because of an oblique. But Anaheim, I'll call him Anaheim forever. They pitched him over 130 innings each of the last 3 years. He played 150 games plus the last 2 years. They misused him and abused him because of their shitty roster. He may come back to pitching in 2025. But again, because he's an international phenom, because he's beloved all over the world, and because of these endorsements, he can defer this compensation. He's, a 2-time unanimous MVP. Just statistically on both sides of the play, second lowest batting average against, one of the highest WARs ever. I mean, these are historical numbers dating back decades. This dude's in the conversation. I saw one that like Barry Bonds and Randy Johnson were only ahead of him in one of the metrics. And of course, Bonds cheated and Johnson was 8 feet tall. But it's a unicorn deal all the way around. This is the most desired free agent since A-Rod. It really is, this with deferred, LA had already deferred with Betts and with Freeman. If the Braves had deferred more, they probably would have gotten Freeman. Freeman fired his representatives because they didn't come up with that idea. Many teams have done it for years. It's the law says there's no limitations as of now, so it's within the rules. I couldn't believe the $2 million either. He's a unicorn. It's a unicorn deal. I don't think we're going to see anything like this for quite a while. Because of Anaheim, he wants to win, and he wants to win now. And that's all that's fit to print when it comes to Shohei Ohtani. And I'm thrilled and ecstatic, and they have room to make deals like they just did for Glass now. So we'll see. It's a long season. It matters who's hot in October, not in the off season. But moving on, let's get into the NFL. And of course, we'll have to start with Tom, whose Detroit Lions have lost 2 out of the last 3, I believe, or they're in my notes, 3 out of the last 4, but also not coincidentally, CJ Gardner-Johnson's been out, and Mr. Mutant Genes, as they call him, what's the update on him?
He's been medically cleared to return to practice, and all indications are he will start next week against the Minnesota Vikings.
What about, people say he's been out. Well, Chicago's a bad matchup for them for multiple reasons, but also, Frank Ragnow was out, and there was a critical fumble exchange. Mm-hmm. It was 13-13 late in that game that after a Chicago score, went another score. They have some critical injuries at bad spots. What's the rest of this team look like?
Well, they were without their left tackle or their left guard for several weeks, Jonah Jackson. He comes back, and Ragnow's been kind of hindered with some injuries the past 2 years. He's got some toe issues. So, and he's, outside of Jason Kelsey, he's one of the league's top centers. and it makes you really realize the importance of that the center quarterback exchange. So he was out last week, and you could kind of tell because the backup was terrible. He had a bad snap on an extra point attempt. So that's been an issue. Secondary's been an issue, mainly because you got to put their corner. His name escapes me. He's number 23. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Jerry Jacobs. Jerry Jacobs has been kind of pushed into the lineup. He's played all season. He's got 4 interceptions on the year, but he's good for 2 to 3 pass interferences a week. So now you can input Gardner Johnson back into that secondary, which I think is a huge reason why the Eagles are having so many struggles, because he was with the Eagles last year and their secondary was lights out. We lost him in week 2. Actually, he played the whole game with a bicep separation. So having him back will kind of fire up a lot. I think it's going to free up Brian Branch. It's going to allow them to play a little different scheme, and hopefully you get Isaiah Buggs back in the center. Hutchinson has looked better the last couple weeks. He's been getting a lot of pressures, but he just hasn't have anybody on that other side, and there's no linebacker pushing the envelope to get rushing on the quarterback. But
2 sacks last 8 games, both against the Bears. Critical mistakes this past week as well.
Sure.
Including an offsides penalty that ended up turning into a 38-whatever-yard touchdown on the next play.
And you look at the turnovers. The last month, golf's been a turnover machine. They've kind of shied away from Montgomery the last couple of weeks. It just seems like they're trying to force too much. They've been on the road the last 2 weeks. They're coming home to play a really good Broncos team. So I think this is a really good battle for the Lions. I expect Ford Field to be loud, as it always is every week. But this is a barometer game for them. 3 weeks to go, 4 weeks to go. You got a 3-game lead in the division. Chances are they're going to take home the North for the first time in 30 years and get a home playoff game. But it's been ugly, and I think the injury bug has finally caught up to them, and we'll see what this team is made of, what this coaching staff's made of, and the talk around here is, and if anyone's listened or watched this show, my biggest gripe is with the Lions fans, and all you hear on sports radio is, we got to get rid of Goff. He's got to go. Bring in Hendon Hooker. That's the most absurd thing I can ever think of. You want a guy who's never taken a snap in the NFL, who's coming off an ACL. You want him to play down the stretch? Good luck. It's the lunacy of Lion fans that drives me crazy. But you got to roll with Goff, and he's got 1 more year on his deal. And if he's the man, he's got 4 weeks to prove it.
The bandwagon, when you start getting good, certainly creates even more fuzzier expectations when it comes to reality. But yeah, they got Denver coming up, a team that's won 7 of 8. And the only loss was an end zone interception as time expired with Russell Wilson against Houston. And they've beaten good teams, man. They slapped Cleveland. They beat Buffalo. They beat Kansas City 24-9. We're really shut them out and kind of laid down a game plan for the Chiefs. We're getting to them in a second. Detroit does play at Dallas week 17, and that's my next question. Brandon Chain, is Dak Prescott the MVP of the league to this point?
Man, he's starting to look like it. Like, I'm even believing. I've been not a Dak fan for however long he's been on the Cowboys.
Forever, all of us.
Yeah, like, it's just, Cowboys going Cowboy, typical. They get all hyped up. They're America's team, and then Dak does some dumb shit and throws 2 interceptions and they lose the game. This year, not this year. Dak is. I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit on the Cowboys. Man, I didn't think they would win this last game, and single-handedly, well, not single-handedly, but Dak was impressive. So I really, really like the direction the Cowboys are headed right now. I don't think they have too many injury problems. So I think down the stretch here, they're going to be in good shape. And Dak is definitely top, probably 2 or 3 in MVP talk right now.
I agree, man. And what people don't realize is this is the 3rd overall defense in rushing yardage or in total yardage allowed behind Cleveland and Baltimore, who don't exactly play in the most wide open division. Now, this team has the Giants twice and Washington, so it's tough to see, but they've had some pretty good battles. And Robbie, they've won 3 in a row, including just waxing Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. What's your take on this Dallas team with at Buffalo, at Miami, Detroit, and Washington coming up? What's a realistic diagnosis or prognosis here?
Are you asking Robbie?
Did Robbie take off on us?
He stepped away.
All right, that was for you, Tom. Anyways,
I mean, the biggest question coming into last week was they haven't beaten a playoff caliber team. Well, they did that by beating the Eagles. So they're rolling on all cylinders. Dak is playing good football. I think if there's a part of their game that they lack, it could be the run game. Tony Pollard has just not stepped up I think they had hoped he would, being that he was always playing second fiddle to Zeke. So that's one aspect that I think they really want to work on. But you've got Ferguson at tight end. He's stepping up. He's looking like a superstar in the making. Obviously,
receivers.
Yep. CeeDee Lamb is having just a ridiculous season. But then on the flip side, you have that defense is just, starting to roam again. The defensive front could be one of the top 5 in football. So I like their chances, and their schedule definitely is easy. I don't want to give up, hopes on week 17 against my Lions, but there could be a lot to play for in that game. And coming down to it, the Cowboys need that, because they've got 2 of their last 4 games are against the Giants. And Tommy Cutlets, boy, he's been playing really well there with the Giants, and they seem to be energized. So I'm not sure, if they're going to be up for that. But, right now you like their chances. It's just you've got the 49ers who have kind of separated themselves well above the pack. So
I'm going to ask the group a quick question. Better chance to make the NFC Championship, Dallas or Detroit? Let's go with you, Tom, first. Dallas or Detroit?
Oh, I'll probably say the Cowboys, although they could be a 5 seed, which is kind of crazy to me. So if Detroit kind of squeaks in there to a 3 seed, maybe they get a second home playoff game. I don't know, but I think the Cowboys have a better shot at this point.
Robbie, Detroit, Dallas, better chance.
Cowboys by far. Right now, they've got Dak doing 1, 2, 3 throw. It's impossible to get pressure on him. The way he's seeing defense, this West Coast offense is flowing right now. It's dangerous.
Can we talk about Dak and his "here we go"? His cadence.
That's the new Omaha, right?
Yes, it is. And he said he wanted to get something that that people would kind of take and run with, and that would have a kind of its own legs in popular culture. So thanks for that, Tom. I was trying not to score there. Chain, Dallas or Detroit?
Oh, Dallas for sure. Detroit seems to be somewhat injuries are kind of bugging them a little bit, and they're kind of on the downslide a little. As you know, the reverse is Dallas is on the upslide. So these teams were flopped in the beginning of the season this year. Dallas started off kind of slow and sluggish. Lions looked great. Lions looked like a playoff team. And just like baseball, doesn't matter how good you are during the season, you get to the playoffs. It's who's hot.
And healthy. And healthy. And speaking of a team that's not, by the way, Dallas is 3-3 on the road. Road record is huge to me, especially in the NFL. And Detroit's 5-2. Others are 5-1, like Baltimore, San Francisco 5-2. So something to consider. If they're not in Jerry World, they certainly play differently. But going to a team who is not healthy and not hot, and has scored less than 20 points. Their last? I was going to count how many games, and now they have Karen on the sidelines. Robbie, give me the state of the Kansas City Chiefs, and tell me why, and tell the world why I called Mahomes Karen, even though it's like he's married to one also.
Well, as you know, I drafted Kelsey number 2 overall in my fantasy league. There's been a huge distraction that we all know of in this locker room, this social media, everything.
I think it's your favorite artist of all time, isn't it?
Yes. This is worlds colliding. Taylor Swift is both. I'm both proud of her for the year she's having, and she's ruining my year and the Chiefs' year at the same time. So
you can't be proud of somebody you rub one out to. By the way, I don't think that works. But sorry, go ahead. You were saying those worlds colliding though, but so real quick, you talked about it. Tom did too. Hold on. Well, we could go back to that comment. You can't be proud of someone, or is that? No, we're gonna leave. We're gonna move on from that.
No. But what you're talking about is, So obviously there was the over the line offsides call, and then Patrick Mahomes lost it.
Why?
This was the first time he lost it because he knows for the first time in his career,
he's not going to get
his team's not the best. It's going to be a struggle now getting there, and then his invulnerability is going to be called into question. And also, I think he's married to not the most famous person in the room, and that's a whole different. But I do think there is legit locker room drama in Kansas City.
He slammed his helmet down like a princess, like it was all about me, and then started yelling at the ref. Tom and Brandon, you both know why it was so ridiculous. Basically what happened is, as a receiver, you need to check in down with the side judge to make sure you're not offsides. Kadarius Toney checked in, but then turned his head. It's a formality, but he didn't wait to see the response. It was offsides. It was clear on a huge touchdown trick play, but Mahomes threw a fit. Was he throwing a fit because, hey, we're the Kansas City Chiefs? We just had a trick play. This is sports entertainment. What the hell's your problem?
Or I don't think it was a trick play, though. I think it was improv.
I think it was improv.
But regardless, it was a spectacular play that's going to generate millions of views and be on the SportsCenter top 10. Was he mad at the ref because he had the audacity to call that on that play? Why was he yelling at the ref when it was clear? Brandon, Tom, what? I saw a guy who thinks he's above the law. Like when I looked at it, like just clip-wise on Twitter, why was he yelling at the ref? Wasn't it clear he was offsides?
I think it was a culmination of the season, and that play set him over the edge. He's never been. It's like a kid who's never been told no. And for the first time in his life, no, you can't have that. And they don't know how to handle it. He's always been on the right side of a lot of decisions, a lot of calls. Look no further than the Super Bowl last year. The game-winning play that they called a hold on James Bradbury of the Eagles, which was very, very suspect. He's been the recipient of a lot of very, very questionable calls. So this is the first time in his career that A, the team seems to be spiraling, and B, the losses, the home losses, now their second home loss. So, and just the way that the season has played out thus far, it was all wrapped up into one, and he lost his marbles, with that. And what I don't like is how he seemed to take it out on Josh Allen, and the response from Josh Allen was just kind of like, dude, he kind of looked at him like, this guy's lost his shit. So, but I think it's a look inside of Chiefs Nation right now. It's not looking good.
Shane, why has this team been so easy to diagnose? Why are they averaging 18 points? Their last 2 games, 1 win in the last 4 was against the Raiders, 17 points against Philly, 21 in a win against Miami, 9 points against Denver. What has happened since week 8?
Well, what has happened is they traded away Tyreek Hill. When you combine Kelsey over the middle, can cut up anything throughout the middle, out route, whatever, and then you can stretch the field with Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
That is one of the most dangerous, dynamic offenses. Like, you can't plan for it. Like, they don't even run route. They just find space. They have 0 route. Like, it's all option routes on them. They just run free, and Patrick Mahomes finds it. It's like backyard football. Like, that's all it is.
Yep.
So now you lose the speedster. Now we're subject to Kadarius Toney, who can't apparently line up on sides. And
and they thought he was going to be the one this year after his
super athletic dude.
Can't catch the damn ball, but
I don't know him personally, and I'm gonna make a reckless speculation here, but I think he might be about equal with a bag of rocks on the brain level. So we'll just leave that at that. But
allegedly,
reckless speculation here. It's all speculation. Look, I get where Mahomes is coming from. Yes, he has been on the right side of a lot of those calls, but statistically, an offensive offsides, there are so many times you can call that, and it's never called. And I get where he's
in the Monday night game.
I get that
to make up for Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, no joke.
So you see, I get that point, but also by the letter of the law, he was blatantly offsides, whether it be 2 inches of his foot over the line, that little blue line or whatever they were showing on TV. That's all,
it's a roundabout.
Roundabout.
It's a
but if you pause it and you look down the line, he was over the line. So that was a easy call. And, was it on Kadarius Toney to be kind of just turn your head like, I know I'm good kind of deal? Or, what was that all about? Because as a receiver, you're taught it doesn't matter where you stand. As long as the side judge says you're good. Doesn't matter. You can be 2 feet over a line. If the side judge says you're good, doesn't matter. But to turn your head in that kind of blatantly disrespecting and a huge play. So there's a whole lot of factors. I mean, we can speculate all day long. That's what we do on the show. But do I think Kansas City's in trouble? They're definitely hurting in wide receiver, but they still have a ton of talent. Pacheco comes back. That'll open up a little bit more. That'll soften the defense a little bit. Just McKinnon and Clyde Allaire, they just can't they don't have the speed and the wherewithal that Pacheco does, so they don't really pose a threat. So you see a lot of nickel, dime, cover twos, trying to cover Kelsey. So I think the Chiefs will be fine, but yeah, they're not going to get a home playoff game probably, and they got a little road to climb here.
A lot of nickel and dime, like you said, and I think they expected. It looked like Kadarius Toney, Richie James, Sky Moore, a second-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
McCole Hardman Jr. looked like he was ready to be the guy. He got on IR. They're getting what's his name? Justin Watson, the tall white dude from Penn in the 5th round. Justin Ross, undrafted from Clemson. MVS, we thought he was going to be an instant ready to take the next level. Kind of reminds me of Martavius Bryant. Just really done nothing. Rashee Rice, the 2nd rounder from SMU, he's by far been their best player.
But he had a bad fumble. Bad fumble in the 4th.
Bad fumble. And that's the issue with Kadarius Toney. He can't catch. And on top of that, you got an offensive line that, Wanya Morris, former Tennessee Vol, who transferred, started for Donovan Smith, who's along with Tooney and Creed Humphrey. The left side of their line is everything, but their tackles right now are Wanya Smith and Jawan Taylor. And 18 pressures were registered against Mahomes last week by Buffalo, who was 23rd, I believe, in pass rushing, in pressures and hurries. So their teams are coming after him now too. So
he has nowhere to throw it. Like, why would you not come after him?
To throw it? Can this be fixed, Brandon Chain?
I mean, outside of him throwing it in the receiver's helmet and it getting stuck, I don't think so. Because they can't catch, they can't run routes. Mahomes hasn't changed. Kelsey hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything around him that's changed. Andy Reid's schemes hasn't changed. This is the same old shit, just there's zero wide receiver. And when you Tyreek Hill, he's my MVP of the NFL. Like, look at what he's doing in Miami. And look what happens when he misses a few plays, or like how
has to come out of the game.
Has to come out of the game. And look how bad Kansas City is missing him this year. Because outside of that, I mean, they're an easy favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to get to Millhouse and the Miami Dolphins. But the last thing I'll say on Kansas City, well, actually, I'm going to save that. Let's actually move on. You brought up Miami. How do you go from looking like the best team in the NFL to just losing an inexplicable game, Robbie Davis? I know you're a Titans fan, but even you had to be shocked by that. Now, keep in mind, Miami. Now, Mike Vrabel is an amazing coach, and Shane, I'm going to ask you about him and his tendencies later. But Miami had 7 points in the first half. They were defensive, but I know you guys were thinking, "Here we go again," and then Tennessee wins the game, and Tyreek came back. What the hell happened?
This was a weird game, and it was just one of those things where Miami kept just messing up and just playing like the Titans pass rush kept getting to Tua, and it's like it shouldn't have, because it was 4-on-5. It kept getting to him, and then just mistakes. And a team that's going for first place, the number 1 seed overall in the AFC, to be up 14 with I think 4 minutes left, 4.5, to lose that game
At home.
Yeah, at home is inexcusable to a team that was 4-8 before that, and rookie quarterback, really an old receiver, and Tyreek Hill got hurt, but there was a difference when Tyreek Hill was in there. He could carve out the defense, but even like if you're going for the number 1 seed at home. You can't lose that game to the Titans.
No, and Tennessee scored with 2:40 left in the game to make it 27-21. Miami barely held the ball because Derrick Henry scored, or did they turn the ball over? I can't remember. 4 plays, 64 yards in 26 seconds with a running team with Will Levis as your quarterback. Miami consistently demonstrated an inability to move the ball when they had to get a first down. And quite frankly, to me, Tua reminds me of Dak. Is that a fair comparison, Tom? I don't see it there. I don't see a guy that's going to win a Super Bowl. I see a guy who's going to get you right there and then make a mistake.
Well, I mean, you can say the same thing like Brandon said with Tyreek Hill with Kansas City. He came out of that game, and that offense looked very, very predictable. And yeah, he came back and he admitted he probably shouldn't have. So he was the not explosive Tyreek Hill. I think you have that ability to. He's almost like a security blanket or a bailout. If you can get it downfield, he's going to go get it. He's a weapon, and I agree, Brandon. He's the MVP, and he proved it by the way Miami played this week when he wasn't on the field. Tua, I think, has lost his ability to scramble. He would pull the ball down and take off running. His concussion issues have really had him rethinking his quarterback strategy. He was very apprehensive to take off with the ball, and I think that limits him. And when the offensive line isn't producing and he doesn't have Tyreek there to kind of save him, it makes a difference. So I think it's a good comparison because, on the flip side, you look at Dak Prescott. He's been apprehensive to run since he, split his ankle in 2 seasons ago. So the mindset of their positioning and the way they play the game has changed. So you don't really worry about them taking off. The threat is there. Their ability to do so has changed. So he could probably get them to the edge, but get them over the edge. We got a huge battle in 4 weeks between the Dolphins and the Bills that don't look now, but the East could be on the line if all goes well with Buffalo. So Miami better be careful because they're in the same boat as Detroit. They could sink real fast if they're not careful.
They've had crucial injuries, specifically the freak Jalen Phillips, who you got to feel for out of UCLA and the U, and then Jerome Baker, the quarterback of that defense. And I saw a team that wasn't physical, and that brings me to my last point on Miami. Robbie Davis, I know you're also a fan of Hard Knocks. I call him Millhouse, Mike McDaniels. Is he more Josh McDaniels or Bill Belichick? And not like as the greatness of Belichick, but is this a lifetime coordinator or a guy that they can win with? Because I didn't see a guy inspiring. Again, this is a clip from a show, right? But is this the guy? Can they win a Super Bowl with him, or is he an ideal offensive coordinator? What's your take on Millhouse?
So I think the locker room has to be right. I don't think he is a Sean Payton or a Bill Parcells that can go anywhere and win. I think he has to have the right locker room, and he may or may not have it in Miami. But you walk into, let's say he follows Bill Belichick or the guy in Houston. It's not going to work. I think he's a quirky guy. Maybe he could, the guy that took Hasselbeck to the Super Bowl in Seattle, Sherman, or
was it Mike Sherman?
Mike Sherman? No, it was he was a Packers coach in the Green Bay, or Green Bay coach and the Seattle coach. Anyways.
Yeah, it was Sherman.
Sherman.
That rings a bell.
Yeah. So someone like that, a little quirky, that can follow someone like that. But I don't know if he fits everywhere. I'm not sure he fits anywhere, but he may fit Miami, and we'll see how it works this year.
I agree that you kind of need flair and offensive firepower and guys that love his inventiveness and strategy. Hill, Waddle, Barrios, Achane. I can't ever pronounce his name.
Who's got? Hey, Raj, who's got Arizona that flamed out? Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh,
yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah. So McDaniel, it's kind of like that, but maybe a little smarter.
Yeah, I mean, they looked like a perfect match and run to the Super Bowl and everything, and then the wrong thing happens. I agree with you. Finally, I saw a team that wasn't tough, and he couldn't bring them back. It's unfair to put it all on him, but let's go to a team that the window is closed. How much? Well, first, Brandon, why is Mike Vrabel so good? Why do opposing coaches hate playing against the Titans? And what's his future like? Is he going to be there in 2 years?
Oh, 100% he'll be here. Mike Vrabel is a grinder. He is very he's such a student of the game, and he can exploit his strengths and hide his weaknesses in tough games like this. And you look at when especially when we're at home, this was a surprise, obviously on the road. But I'll get to that here shortly, why I think that changed. But at home, we're always the underdog against some of these big names like that. And he finds a way, he grinds it out. And he's a brilliant coach coming from the Belichick, Parsons tree, that whole system. I mean, these guys just know how to win, know what it takes to win, and know how to exploit strengths in your team. And lean on that. So we go to this game. All they did, this was a very simple defense, which I'm sure it was Vrabel influenced, but a lot of credit to Shane Bowen too. A lot of nickel dime, kind of a 4-3 base nickel dime packages coming in there. Keep everything in front. Let them try and run the ball. Do not give up big plays to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, and keep everything in front. And that really worked. It really did for a lot of it till probably the end of the third quarter when Tyreek came back after he was hurt. He had 2 big plays, chunk plays, which we were trying to avoid. And they got all the way down to like the 5 or 6 yard line. But you look at our red zone defense, when it came down to it, we held them to field goals for the most part, aside from the turnover, the last end of the fourth quarter, whenever they, we turned it over and they scored quickly. But defense was strong. Defense was really, really strong. So I give a lot of credit to Vrabel for just relying on the guys in the front and cover 2, nickel package, keep everything in front. Not a whole lot of man, a lot of zone, a lot of read. That's why they were able to run the ball, but we weren't worried about them running the ball that much. So that really didn't affect us. It was just a great scheme. And again, just credit to Vrabes on that whole game plan because it worked. A couple things had to bounce our way. Tajay Sharp catching the ball and then fumbling out of bounds. Could have easily went fumble inbounds, turnover, and, that's ball game. But a couple of bounces our way, that game plan against a team that is better than us on paper. Good win for the Titans.
In the interest of time, I agree entirely that that's a team that takes on the personality of their coach and their star player, Derrick Henry. Just a dark alley team. Interest of time, I don't want to do top 5 from everyone. I want to give you mine and see if anybody has some big issues here. I got San Francisco at number 1. I went with Baltimore at number 2, at 10-3 as well, and that's because of defense. Lamar Jackson, playmakers when they need it, head coaching, and I just thought they were more stable than 3, who I have as Philadelphia, even though they lost badly. I think when they get right, I trust them and Jalen Hurts more than number 4, the Dallas Cowboys. All 4 of these teams are 10-3. And then at number 5, I still went with Miami, although you can make an argument for Detroit at 9-4, just like Miami, for Denver at 7-6, who's won 6 of 7, for the Chiefs, who are the Chiefs. What do you guys think? How does my top 5 stack up?
I think right now Dallas is playing better football than the Eagles.
I agree. After just smoking them, I'm just thinking, if it came down to it, I kind of changed the context, the nature of that for that pick only, because I just feel weird putting Dallas ahead of Philly no matter what.
And I think they're playing better than the Ravens. Specifically quarterback play. So, but other than that, I think it's Miami at 5 as long as Tyreek Hill is healthy.
Agreed.
And if not, then I'd slide Detroit in there, even though that makes me want to puke. But
or Denver, depending on who wins this game, man.
Or here's a reckless speculation. How about Buffalo? I think this is a very, very they're sitting at 7-6. But I think the ceiling for them is very high. Unfortunately, they've dug themselves in a huge hole, so I don't know if they can recover from that. But right now, man, they look good. They look good, so we'll see. But
real quickly, I've got Dallas, San Fran, Baltimore, Miami, Detroit, Jacksonville.
You have Dallas ahead of San Francisco. Tell us why.
This 3-step drop that they've got Dak on, they look damn good. Like they just look and San Francisco looks good too, but Dallas looked really, really good. Sunday night.
Here's a team to watch out for, and that's the Rams. And I know we all love Stafford, Puka, Kupp, Higbee, who did not play last week. Kyron Williams, who I had picked up in my bigger money league, and it was a limited spot bench, and it was the week before he went active, and I had to drop him, and then I didn't get him back, and that really pissed me off. But anyways, that's a team that at 6-7, though, they end with Washington at home, the Saints at home, at the Giants, all winnable games, and then at the 49ers, who may have locked everything up by then. Is this a team that could do some damage, Tom? What do you think of the Rams going forward?
I think if they would have won last week, now you're looking at kind of owning their own destiny. That was a bad loss.
That hurt.
They played really well in Baltimore, in a place that most NFC teams go to die, and they hung with them in the force overtime. So, but that loss, that's 7 losses on the year. That's going to be tough. But if they were to squeak their way into the playoffs, yeah, you have an experienced quarterback. You have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, who are a hell of a tandem. And then you've got Aaron Donald on the other side of the ball. So they have potential to make noise. I'm not sure if they can recover from last week's loss. So time will tell. They can't afford another loss. I know that.
It hurt, but when you go to Baltimore and you play them neck and neck and you lose on a 76-yard punt return halfway through the overtime, to me there is a kind of like, all right, we can play with any of these fools. Right. So they could easily win those last 4, especially if the Niners are already clinched. But I'm going to switch it over to you, Tom, because this conversation we were going to talk about coaches and coaching changes and the drama, and not just the usual, although we are going to hit on the usual, the great ones. Nick Saban's going to retire. Bill Belichick and New England's future. But I wanted to go to Tom because Michigan has basically been at the forefront of the coaching world with all the drama lately. And I'm going to start with you, let you host the rest of the show, actually, because I read today that Nick Saban, starting off, who may or may not retire, hired a former Michigan linebacker coach 2 weeks before the Rose Bowl. What is that story? And then tell us about Michigan's drama, and also into New England, please, and Saban, and basically all the big name coaches with all the storylines floating around them.
Well, yeah, Saban goes out and hires Michigan's linebacker coach, who's been there for the last 2 seasons, and he's going to start in the bowl game, which is very interesting to me. Very interesting to me that there would be a coach on a team that's playing against the team that he's going to get hired. I'm surprised Harbaugh allowed that to happen. Not to say that he had much of a choice, but to me, it's interesting. And it kind of says, does Alabama think highly of Michigan's defense for them to go out and kind of poach the coach from them?
He's not the active linebacker coach, right? Like he left the year before. It's Chris Partridge, but still, it's a guy ingrained in.
He's a guy that knows the
Harbaugh's
schemes.
Philosophy. Yes,
he knows the schemes. He knows the players, and he can definitely kind of plug in his ideas to Saban to avoid some of those linebackers who have played really well this year. Michigan's defense has been pretty solid. So. Interesting move. There's a lot of questions being risen around here about that decision. So we're gonna see pretty quick if it paid off for Nick Saban. But back to Nick Saban. It came out this week that I don't know how legit this Twitter page is, but it certainly raised some eyebrows with college football fans everywhere, Alabama football fans, that this could be it for Nick Saban. He does have frustrations with NIL in the direction that college football is going. So there will be an end date for Nick Saban. Brandon, is this a big deal, or is this just kind of smoke and mirrors? Allegedly, ESPN has a contract. It was talked about this week on the McAfee show. It was hinted. There was not a definitive answer. But how big is this potentially?
I mean, it'd be huge for Alabama and their team for sure. Who are you going to get to replace Nick Saban? Like, he's the GOAT, right? But all good things come to an end, and eventually he's got to go or retire. Yes, I agree. NIL has leveled the playing field, and I think he's upset about that because he was such a great recruiter and such a great coach. And I feel like he, behind the scenes maybe thought he should be the only one paying players, not NIL. Yeah. Just kidding. They are paid players, so now
you're not.
But now now the playing field's leveled, and we're seeing this in the transfer portal combined with NIL. It's a freaking wild west chaos, right? Like there's probably 3,000, 4,000 kids in the transfer portal right now, like just crazy. And these are kids. You can't stack teams like you used to, like Saban used to, right? You can't have 3 first-string lines, right? Now, the second string that doesn't get to play, they're going to go make $1 million at Notre Dame or somewhere else and get to start and get to play. So that changes things. So he's pissed off. That's just Saban is a creature of habit. He eats 2 oatmeal cookies and has a cup of coffee
Debbie cakes, Debbie cookies.
Yeah,
Debbie
I know.
cookies.
Yeah, the oatmeal little Debbie cookies. I know. I eat them a lot. I love those things. But he takes decisions out, and he's a man of habit, and this is screwing up his chi, and he is not happy about it. So could I see him going after this year, especially if they win the national championship? Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that. Robbie, you're the lone SEC rep here. If he does leave, does that change the landscape of SEC football?
100% it does. This is a guy who has towered over the SEC. Look, I'm on the Wikipedia page right now. In 17 years at Alabama, he's lost, or 16 years at Alabama, he's lost 18 games.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. Like insane. Like you say, or people say the SEC is the toughest conference in the world. He's dominated it, and like
you say it, Robbie. Don't.
No.
You don't have to sugarcoat it.
Everyone says it, but it's true. I mean, we win 14 of the last 17.
Yeah.
I mean, do we want
keep it moving?
Do we want to turn to the Feinbaum show? The Feinbaum show. We don't want to do that, do we? We don't want to turn to the Feinbaum show.
Please don't.
But no. I mean, when he goes, if it's this year, if it's next year, who's going to follow that? You just don't, like, because SEC fans in general are insane, and so is Michigan, Ohio State, and you guys. USC is the only fan base that's capable of winning and losing and not caring. But Alabama fans are going to want to win every single year, and they're not going to again. Like, this is not going to be replicated. It's just not. And so it's going to be a revolving door around there. They're going to be the dumpster. They're going to be the dumpster. No, I'm going that far. I'm going that far. They're going to be Auburn. They're going to keep firing coaches because you want what you had. It's like the heroin effect. Like, they were going to want what they had. They're not going to get it because no one can do this again. Like, it just can't be done.
Well, and it's not the same playing field either anymore.
You're right.
So now it's like that'll never be replicated because of that.
Yes.
In itself, right? Like, just because of that, it can never even be attempted. So
no,
Nick couldn't come in and do what he has done over this 17-year period again.
Not in this new age college football. There's nobody that can do that.
NIL has, and the transfer portal, like you said, Brandon. If this kid gets recruited out of high school, he wants to play now. And if he sits for 1 year, he's gone. And I think that's the state of college football. Whether right, wrong, or indecisive, who knows? The direction for me personally, it's definitely no longer an amateur sport. You have rumors of Marvin Harrison Jr. getting NIL deals in excess of $25 million. The same can be said about Caleb Williams potentially coming back to, rumor has it, Ohio State. So it's also taken a new life in a sense that kids that were destined for the pros are staying in because they can make more money a la Blake Corum to stay in college. But it's crazy. And I think some of the old-time coaches see it and they don't like the way it's going. And they know that, especially with Nick Saban, that the pattern is going to change. But go ahead, Robbie.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking about myself being in college. I was 23 when I graduated college. And if you gave me 23-year-old me, you said, hey, here's $100,000, whatever, or $50,000, or back then $25,000 to go another year and just hang out, or here's $100,000 to work. What are you going to take? I'm like, hey, I'll just check this $25,000 out one more year and see how it goes. And that $100,000 is going to be there. Like it's just more money, but it's the same kid philosophy.
And they're not going to classes. I mean,
know
dang well they're not going to classes. So
even they were talking about that, and Pat McAfee, he was like, "School, like what? School? What are you talking about? School? These kids go to school."
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Well, and the NCAA versus UNC just showed that. They're like, no, they don't go to school, and we don't care about that either. It's just nothing.
No, it's a business. It's a money thing, and like we said, everything has changed in college football, and you'll never see another dominant team for this many consecutive seasons.
I think Georgia may have been.
It's the end of it.
Run. Yep.
It's the end of it.
I agree.
It will change.
Georgia's going to lose 3 games next year. If y'all saw the SEC schedule release, And Florida is FUCK.
Wait till college football starts deferring NIL payments and transferring tax states and all that stuff like LA. Then that's a whole nother thing.
Well, here's another possible end of an era.
Okay, yeah.
News came out per Tom Curran, who's a New England Patriot beat writer, per NESN, New England Sports Network, said it's already it's been done. They're planning on parting ways. Here's another situation where you never thought this day would ever come, but we're on the doorstep of quite possibly one of the greatest coaches to ever play or coach in the NFL, which some might say that was Tom Brady, but nonetheless, Bill Belichick, he's got 7 rings. His career speaks for itself. Yeah. 6.
Yep.
Crazy to think that he might be out at the end of the year, but the reality is he's kind of driven this team into the ground. And I'm glad Raj came back because I wanted to ask him.
Sorry,
he's kind of an old school type of coach, just like Saban. Likes to have his hands on pretty much everything. He's the GM, he's the president, he's the head coach. Is it time for the end of Bill Belichick? And is he kind of the one to blame for the direction that the Patriots have gone, seeing that his draft picks have been pretty suspect? So it without painting a broad brush, is it time for the Patriots to let him go? Raj.
Is it me?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think you ever let him go. I mean, I know what you mean. That terminology could never be used. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at that team now, there's nothing there, man. I mean, in terms of promising talent, you kind of stumbled upon Ramondre Stevenson. I know he's a 4th-round pick out of Oklahoma, one of the few draft picks that's worked out. But, has-beens at receivers across the board. Bad tight ends. You got Trent Brown, who might be 80. Chattanooga, right, Rob? Cole Strange at left guard, who has not played exceptionally well. The offensive line at PFF is 23rd this week.
He'll get there.
Defensively, I don't see. I mean, Jabril Peppers is still there, but I don't see anything on
that's
defense.
A Michigan boy.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just don't see anything there, and I can't believe he's still there. It must be pride, but it's funny in that last game, Bailey Zappi ran. Ezekiel Elliott ran for what appeared to be the game-ending first down. They reviewed it. But Belichick was like, look, the same way he did when they won the Super Bowl with Brady hopping on Drew Bledsoe. So the passion is still there. His 24th NFL draft just happened, I believe. So it's a tough situation, man, because I feel like he's looking for gems, looking for the Tom Brady's, the 6th-rounders, and talent evaluation and things have changed. Football has changed, and he hasn't.
Yep,
now, maybe
exactly.
he'll rehire McDaniels and kind of go back that route, but as of right now, yeah, there's nothing there. I mean, he needs to go off into the sunset, in my opinion.
Well, there's no question he wants that record. And he's probably, maybe 2 seasons away with the right team. And I can tell you a team right now who could potentially be a landing spot for him with Josh McDaniels as his offensive coordinator. And they're playing right now, and they're losing 42-0 in the first half. That's the Los Angeles Chargers, down 42-0 currently in the second quarter to a team that got shut out at home against the Vikings. So I think
3-0.
Yeah, 3-0. I think there's potential for landing spots for him, but this is going to be crazy to see the New England Patriots with a new, a different coach on the sidelines, and we'll get this real quick. Brandon, is it time for, I guess, New England to part ways real quick?
Man, like Raj said, it's so hard when you have such a legend and a coach like him, but it's adapt or die, and he is still trying to, like you said, find those hidden gems in 5th and 6th and 7th round picks, and it's just not working. It starts with the
first-rounders have
quarterback
always sucked, to be fair.
Yeah,
2012, the last year they had.
He's all about trading down, trading back, getting, making it up in volume and, free agency or whatever. It's just not the case as of late. And, it's easy to point the finger at him. But I agree, Raj, right off into the sunset. He's got a house here somewhere in Nashville. Come back to Nashville. Him and Saban retire. They're going to run their Mercedes dealership up the road and eat
Ferrari,
eat, oatmeal cookie cream pies and have their coffee and talk about what used to be in football.
Oh,
and both of them go out as legends.
Robbie, real quick, has the time come to say goodbye?
Bill Parcells was a great coach. Bill Belichick is a cheater and got lucky with a quarterback that got him Super Bowls. Bill Belichick has a losing record without Tom Brady.
Yeah,
Bill
true.
Parcells won everywhere he went. That was the master. Bill Belichick is the peon of Bill Parcells. He absolutely deserves to get separated at this time because he hasn't done anything since Brady.
Yeah, you said separated. Should they fire him?
No.
Oh, hell,
he'll never be fired.
I mean,
well,
however they want to do it. I mean,
according to Tom Curran in that article, don't forget they extended Belichick before the start of the season. Yeah. So I think Bob Kraft is looking at trading assets for him.
And don't forget they absolutely filmed the Rams in the Super Bowl practices, and the NFL destroyed those tapes. Like, that's not questionable. That happened.
Yeah. Well, that's for another show. That's for sure.
Quick question, real quick to you guys. Right now, who would you take, Belichick or Vrabel? Raj.
Vrabel.
Tom.
Mike Vrabel.
I already know your answer, Robbie. I agree.
Yep, for sure. It looks like Robbie's frozen up here. But
no,
are you guys?
I was shocked. I wasn't frozen. I was shocked.
No. I think it's a different game. He's still trying. He's still trying to coach like it's the 90s. So I think it's time for him to put it to bed. But fellas,
Patriot way is dead.
Yeah, it's never been. Even the coaching tree's pretty pathetic. I should know. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
That's right. It's that time of the week where you get those apps ready, because we're going to give you the picks that'll get you the money. And we're going to start right here at the Billy Bowl down in Ford Field. The Broncos taking on the Lions. I will be in attendance. Section 333 will be loud and proud, and let's hope we pull this off. We'll start with Raj. What do you like in this game?
5 is too many. Give me the donkeys.
Brandon Chain.
So, odd random stat. Detroit Lions are 5-1 after losing and not covering the spread. And they're coming home. I like Goff at home. I like the Lions here. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Trying to look up the over quickly. I don't know. 47.5. I like the over here. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think Detroit Lions cover.
Robbie.
That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Give me Denver. Give me Denver and the points.
Oh, wow. You think Denver's going to win?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Russell Wilson and Sean Payton are cooking right now. Detroit's fumbling. They're you know what? Detroit's doing what Detroit does. And that's sad. Because I hope I want happiness on you, Tom. Kind of.
Well, I'm telling you what, I might reactivate my FanDuel account because you took Denver. I'm going to put my money on the Pontiac Pussycats. Go Lions!
Hey, you don't have to do third party. Brandon can be your bookie. He's got plenty of money.
Yeah, give me the Lions here.
Just text me your bets, boys.
Yeah.
Heading out to the only game that Mr. Brandon Chain will be in attendance for this year, and it's not.
Actually, I'm going to Christmas
see the
Eve game
Tennessee
too.
Titans.
Yeah, I'll be there too.
CJ Stroud.
If
Tennessee
he plays,
yeah, right. Tennessee giving 2.5 to the Fighting CJ Strouds. We're going to start with you, Robbie. Who do you like in this one?
So I've talked to Derrick Henry, several times through the week through my fantasy league, my fantasy ownership,
Telepathic.
Team. He
got the fantasy part all right.
He's going to be ready.
Dreams.
He's going to be ready. Levis is playing well. I think Tennessee wins, covers. I think they win by 2 touchdowns.
Oh,
I am hyped for this Titans team after Monday night.
Woo. Wow. We're really going with the name of this show tonight.
Yeah, it's reckless speculation for sure.
Brandon Chain, you put the PSLs up. Season tickets are in question. This is the only game you're going to see this year.
Yeah.
Are you
I think I'm going to go to the
heading
Christmas
back?
Eve game too. But
okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to the Christmas Eve game too. But there's a lot of factors here for me to attend this game. One, is CJ Stroud going to play? He's 50-50 in concussion protocol right now. And that leads me to the pick. If CJ Stroud does not play, Titans win this game easily. I would even buy the 2 touchdowns that Robbie's thrown out. If CJ Stroud does play, I think it's going to be a hell of a game. And I think it's going to be a battle. I think the Titans will cover. that by 3 points, I think we win by field goal if Stroud plays.
We're
good at home. Yeah, we're good at home. Exactly. And I said this before we even got to this game. Vrabel is great at home. He knows how to exploit his strengths and hide his weaknesses. So I think we'll be good. But I'd love to see Stroud play here. There's also another factor. There's like 70% chance of rain. I used to be that guy that would not miss a game, rain or shine. I haven't been to a game this year. I damn sure don't want my first one to be in a downpour. So we'll see. A lot of factors.
So
I went to
pick?
I'm sorry.
What's your pick? Titans?
Yeah.
I can't let you off that easy.
Mm-hmm. I gave you my pick.
Okay.
Titans will win.
All right.
I went to a meaningless Raiders-Titans game, last game of the year in the rain, and it was like the worst 3 hours of my life. It wasn't that bad, but they didn't have enough bars and seats for the bars inside. Get a new stadium, Tennessee. No, it's
You want to come and pay for it?
Yeah,
Raj?
wait. We're on that topic.
It was a bad joke. CJ Stroud is in concussion protocol, and this is not a team that is overwhelmingly physical on offense, especially without Pierce, Devin Singletary, and others. The Tennessee Titans are the wrong team to play when you're not sure if your quarterback's brain is okay.
Especially
Houston is 2-4 on the road. The Titans are 4-2 at home. I love D'Amico Ryans. The Tennessee defense is improving, but I think the public's going to bet this down a little bit just based on their love for the highlights of the Texans. And then I'm definitely taking Tennessee. But even at 3, I will take Azeez Al-Shaair and the Tennessee Titans and Harold Landry and stupid Danico Autry, who is a Raider, didn't do shit, and then dominates. And Arden Key, who was a Raider, didn't do shit. And has
Derrick
5
Henry will
sacks.
probably score 2 touchdowns.
D'Amico Autry was the best free agent signing we've had in the last 3 years. Hands down.
Yeah, he went to the Colts after the Raiders kicked ass, and then now he just does sacks for you guys. That's it. So physical team, wrong time
when you
to
put
play the Titans.
Big Jeff on the other side, it makes it a little bit easier for D'Amico.
Hey, just random question. Brandon, are you still going to be happy to talk about the NFL when you miss the fantasy football playoffs next week?
Next question.
You're not going to make the playoffs, Robbie.
I too will take the Titans in this one. Moving on. Cowboys going into Buffalo. This game, it looks like it's going to be one of the best ones, if not the best of the weekend. Dallas is Dallas, and Buffalo's got second win here. Huge game, one Buffalo can't lose, and one Dallas can't lose if they want any hopes of the 1 seed or the East here. So, Raj, I'll start with you. Who do you like here?
Damn, I was going to check weather.com, but you went to me first. I wonder if there's a nor'easter blowing through. Again, Dallas 7-0 at home, 3-3 on the road. God, Vegas at 2.5. I don't know. Buffalo just looked better. They looked responsive for the first time in a long time. That when Kansas City did something aside from something stupid, they just kind of battled back, and they almost had like a swagger. I know they lost at Philly by 3 and then hammered the Jets. They've been up and down, but the last 3 weeks they've looked different. And give me Buffalo at home.
48 and a chance of rain in Buffalo. No snow squalls or anything like that. So
Damn it.
Should be an evenly played game. Brandon, who do you like in this one?
I'm going to take my beer goggles off here and realize that Dallas is legit this year. I'll take Dallas here for sure. Buffalo has been so sketchy to me. Dallas has been more consistent, which is surprising to say. Buffalo is hanging on by a thread. Dallas is on a mission. They are. I don't see how Dallas loses this game.
Robbie.
Oh, on this one, guys, I think Dallas is playing the best football of the year. Even though Buffalo's fighting for their life, I like Dallas. Give me the points.
I will take Buffalo here. I like kind of the trajectory they're going. Apparently, when you talk about Al Qaeda as good teamwork, it motivates your team as John McDermott did last week before the game. So I have a feeling he won't go that route again. But I like Josh Allen played really well. And
look at the communication. Look at the communication.
How can you just mess up something like that? Like what's your like? I talk in analogies all the time, and like, how can you fuck that up?
Hey, because he's not a public speaker. Like some people just clam up when they get in front of public and try and speak and get asked hard questions.
Yeah, part of being a coach, though.
Right.
We're gonna.
He needs a better PR person,
for sure. So we're gonna head down to Cleveland, where the newly signed Joe Flacco in his $4 million contract. 3 weeks ago, he was sitting in a lazy boy. Now he's throwing for 300 yards. Ridiculous. Just the way the NFL is. This guy's a proven winner. He's won in the playoffs. He's won a Super Bowl. Robbie, the Bears, you know what the Bears did to my Lions, even though they look like dog shit too. The Lions' dog shit was just a little stinkier. Going into Cleveland to face that defense, who do you like?
Yeah, Joe Flacco proves the point that there is not 15 people that can do the job of an NFL quarterback. There's just not. Like a guy who's 35, 30, wherever off a couch can come play, and people that train to play can't play.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, nonetheless, give me the Bears. I guess this is I'll take the Bears. Whatever. Wow. DJ Moore's gonna have a good game. I'm gonna make the playoffs. I'm happy about
it. Brandon Shane.
Brandon's not gonna make the playoffs.
No, I'm 100% making the playoffs. You're in question, and so are the Bears in this entire organization. They get number 1 pick, Justin Fields. He's up, he's down, he's all around. So is the front office. So is everything about the Bears. The Bear going to Bear. The Browns going to Brown. This is a coin flip here of 2 shitty franchises. Like, what is going on? Are we even having this conversation? Can we just change channel and watch another game? But I guess we got to pick.
Yeah.
Wait till the next game.
Yeah, different. God dang it! I'm gonna have to go with the better defense right now, which is the Browns. Give me the Browns.
Raj, dude, I'm going with the Chicago Bears. They are suddenly 5-8. They are playing better. The defense is playing better. Guess who is number 2 in the NFL against the run after San Francisco? The Chicago Bears. Mm-hmm. And that's key to what Cleveland does. And I'm not a believer in Flacco. The Bears' offensive line is getting better and better every week. They used to be complete antonyms. And, now with Tevin Jenkins, Nate Davis, former Titan Braxton Jones, and the rookie from the Tennessee Volunteers who's been really good, Darnell Wright, it's looking way up. And, yeah, that's a tough, fast defense to face. But I just think the Bears shut down the run and they get after Flacco, and they do enough. Just like this Vikings-Raiders game, the road team wins 3-0.
I'm going to take the Browns here. If Flacco can get the ball to Njoku like he did in the first half, he had almost 100 yards receiving in the first half. That bodes well. I don't think Justin Fields gets away from Myles Garrett. Give me the Browns. I like the way they play. So home game, give me the Browns. Ravens Jags here. Yeah, this one could be interesting as well. Jacksonville, do they have a home field advantage? I don't know. There'll be a lot of Baltimore fans in attendance. Baltimore giving 3.5. I'll go first in this game real quick. I'm going Ravens. I think this is a game where Lamar takes off with his legs and makes things happen. Robbie Davis, who do you like?
Have any of you guys ever been to Jacksonville Stadium?
I've been to a concert outside of the stadium. It's a dump.
So
I would not go there if you paid me.
It is a dump, and it's weird. Even though there's gonna be away fans there, you walk in. There's not bathrooms, there's porta potties, but then there's pools in the end zones. There's a lot of distractions. It's hard to take focus in that place. So the home team knows what's going on. The away teams don't. It takes you about a half to figure out what the hell's happening. Give me the Jags plus 3.5.
Brandon. That was a whole lot. There was a whole lot there.
There's pools in the end zones.
Yeah, but
it's
fair
there's
for
people
flyby.
swimming.
it's full of hippos, dude. There's nothing you want to see in that.
No,
shit.
you jump in there. No, like you can swim if you're in there. It's hot as fuck.
In
It
Jacksonville?
sucks.
Yes.
It can be, yeah. It's just muggy from like
So generally they do
dirty
like,
people.
That's why they're going to be the first team that moves to London.
Yeah.
But anyway,
every time I've been there, it's been like the Vols, Gators, and then the Titans, Jags, same weekend in early September. It's hot as fuck. It literally you melt in that place.
Brandon.
give me the Ravens here. Trevor Lawrence is hurt.
I just broke you down. Excellent.
Although he's playing, he's not going to be, not that he's a mobile quarterback, but I think he's going to have a little trouble planning.
No, you're on mute. You're on mute, Robbie. We can't hear you.
I can't. Does Brandon not hear my explanation? Then he just goes away.
Your explanation's stupid. Like there's zero relevance for what you said.
Analysis. That
I'm going to go with the better team, which
Award-winning
is
analysis.
the Ravens at this point, and the better quarterback who is not hurt, and that's Lamar Jackson.
Raj.
Same, man. I thought this line would be higher. Lawrence had 3 picks, 3 TDs last week. They could not run against Cleveland. Baltimore's about the same. I think they're going to get after him, and they're going to have issues. Number one, with that offensive line that's struggling right now big time. They're ranked in EFF at number 25th overall. A lot of injuries. And that's just the wrong team to play when you got injuries in those places.
Score update, 49-0 third quarter. Raiders just throwing flea flickers. The receivers throwing touchdown passes. Brandon Staley better not be allowed.
I haven't seen a game like this since like the Rich Gannon era 20 years ago, and I'm not even fucking watching it.
Brandon Staley better not be allowed on that airplane tonight. He better get himself a hotel.
Their coaching hires Anthony Lynn and Staley, just awful.
I see a hotel room and a hooker in his future. Heading out to Seattle, Battle of the Birds. This is gonna be this could be a sneaky good matchup here. Philly giving 4 to Seattle. Is Geno Smith gonna play? I think that determines a lot here. So Raj, I'll start with you. Who do you like?
He was a limited participant in practice today, so he is expected to play, but. So is Ken Walker and Charbonnet. So I think they're going to be more or less at full strength. But all that being said, I agree it can be sneaky. This is a team that puts up points when you don't expect them to. At Detroit, against Cleveland, winning against the Browns, keeping it competitive at Dallas, at the Niners. So they've been playing some really tough games lately. Their last 4 were Rams, Niners, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles. This is their 5th. All that being said, I think this is a get right game for the Eagles. I think it's close, but if it were at 5, I'd probably go Seattle. But at 4, I'm gonna stick with Philly.
Brandon.
Philly was riding on mile high or whatever you want to say. They were the best team there for a while, and they just got back-to-back beats by the 2 best teams in the NFL, being the 49ers and the Cowboys. They're looking for revenge, man, and they're gonna be pissed coming into this game, and they're gonna leave pissed because Seattle is gonna do something crazy and beat Philly, and the Philly special shuffle, Kelsey podcast, all the distractions. Philly goes down. Seattle covers the points and money line.
All right, Robbie.
I was on Philly till Brandon just mentioned the podcast. Now I think I've gone the other way. I'm so frustrated with this NFL season. Yeah, give me Seattle +4.
Seattle currently is tied with the Rams, who are tied with the Packers for the last wild card spot at 6 and 7, folks. Seattle plays well at home. DK Metcalf is a long threat. Jackson Smith and Jigba has started to come around a little bit. They have a downfield presence. The Eagles have no secondary. I like the Seahawks in this game. They can't afford a loss. They're right in the thick of things. They need help. This game, they get it right. I like Seattle to win this game. So, but yeah, it's interesting week of football. That's for sure. We definitely ran a little bit long, so we'll cut. Get this thing wrapped up here. We're going to put a bow on this thing real quick, guys. You got any final words? And I'll start with you, Brandon.
No final words. Good show. Way longer than we expected. We were like, oh, yeah, we can squeeze an hour out of this. It's going on an hour and 50 minutes. So,
and we had to cut off 2 segments.
I'll shut up.
We definitely.
We
Robbie,
too much.
Any final words?
Well, as we wind down this year, 2023, thank everyone for who listens or who watches and who does anything to support us. We really do appreciate it. Besides that, guys, the 3 of you, hey, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to the next year of us still talking to you guys and talking about sports and doing this thing. And so, it's not Thanksgiving, it's not Christmas, it's a little bit between them both. But hey, thanks for everyone that watches and participates, and thank you guys. And especially one last shout out, Tom. You do more than I think the other three of us even know how to do things. So thank you.
For sure.
It's my pleasure. You guys bring the knowledge, and it's the least I could do.
Yeah.
Raj, final words?
Yeah, real quick. Mainly centering around the James family. Number 1, the Lakers raised their banner for the in-season tournament, which, I think the winning team got $500,000. The NBA did something different. And I will argue that even though most of us didn't know what the hell it was or the schedule, there was single elimination games. And in the last, 8 teams, there was good basketball, man. And there was a lot of intensity. It was all in Vegas. The games were sold out. And, LA, in the bubble, on a neutral floor, they've shown that they don't lose, really. Most importantly, 38-year-old LeBron James was the MVP, just doing things that are unprecedented in sports. To be that old in his 20th season, Jordan, Kobe after year 10, 12, 13, 15, Kareem. Nobody's ever done this. And he was dominant, and he had more fire than Zion Williamson, who did jack shit in LA's 133-89 stomping of them prior. Just no energy whatsoever. And then we saw the ascent of great players, like Tyrese Halliburton, Aaron Nesmith, other young guys that just came out and played with fire, beating teams with like Dame Time and Giannis, and then you see the old guys play with fire. So any single elimination thing is cutthroat basketball, and I'm all about cutthroat basketball. Viewership was a little bit up, but LeBron James was just amazing to me. And then finally, even though they lost in overtime because they shot 20 for 36 from the free throw line, operative free throw line, they went to overtime against Long Beach State and lost. Bronny James made his debut after a cardiac arrest, 6 months ago, which is just remarkable. LeBron called it, one of his most crowning achievements in all of his life to witness. He was there. SC really should have won. Again, if you can't make free throws, though, 20 of 36, they went to OT. They're still learning each other. There's a lot of talent in 5 stars. And the reason why I bring all this up is I am going to Auburn Sunday for a rematch of USC and Auburn. And I'm excited. And I hope SC has had a week to come together. They've got more talent.
I've heard that's an insane place to play.
It really is. And Auburn's got a couple big dudes, including Johnny Broom. And Neville Arena is small. So they sell out, and they've been sold out for like 10 years. And the cheapest ticket was $137 for standing room only. So I'm paying a lot to get decent seats. I tried to go to SC, but Auburn doesn't release any 2 opposing non-conference teams, which sucks. But we're staying at a sweet hotel called the Laurel, which is really nice on campus. I hear it's a beautiful place, nice people, and I'm excited to go to, instead of Taylor Swift like Rob, USC and Auburn basketball this Sunday. So
hey, I'm going to Tennessee and North Carolina State in San Antonio this weekend. So
okay, never mind then. That's cool. But
I also travel.
I know that. My final words are just big ups to the James family. Much respect, much love.
Well, I'll keep it short like Raj just did, but
I think we can hit 2 hours and 30 minutes if you keep going.
Yeah, no, I got to get up early in the morning, but excited about the game this weekend. Saturday night NFL in Detroit, man, the city's going to be buzzing. I'll try and post some pictures, post some videos. Looking forward to that. I think they get back on the winning ways this weekend. So look for a big win, potential to clinch a playoff spot with some help, which is definitely a possibility. Maybe win the division next week. But all right, folks, great show. Definitely went long. So we're glad you guys hung in there for as long as you did. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all our social medias. You see it right there. You got it. Just search Reckless Speculation. We're everywhere, and we're looking to definitely get some more content out there in the coming days. So for Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, Robbie Davis, I am Tom Sloan. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless Speculation.